but as you can see here, it is written Genesis 1, first term, estimation, and approximation, decimal places. We've done the previous one, which it's an estimation and approximation, lesson 1. This is lesson 2. So in this aspect, we're going to be dealing with decimal places. Now we have these numbers 150, then you have this point, then 7158. This 150 here is the whole number. Y here is the decimal point. Immediately after the decimal point, you now have the decimal number. Do you see that? It's called the decimal numbers. Now, the way in which it is named, from this very one, the first one stands for first decimal place. Then you have the one, which is second decimal place. The third one, which is the third decimal place. And this one is the fourth decimal place. Note this: each time a number is pronounced that is having a decimal point, the first one can be pronounced the same together, like 150. Immediately after the decimal, you don't call these ones together like 7,158. No. You mention it as individual numbers. You say 7158. So let's quickly go to an example. Number 1, give the number 78.07526 correct to 3 decimal place. Don't forget, in our first lesson, we're using the word decider in place to do some approximation. Now, if I want to correct this to 3 decimal place, if you remember this very place when we're talking about first decimal place, second decimal place, it applies here also. Now, if you're approximating this thing to third decimal place, this is where your eye should be. Now, the next number that follows is the decider. Now, the decider is less than 5, so it cannot add to this. It cannot make an effect on this 5. So automatically the solution will be in this form, 78.075. Why did this 5 did not change? The 5 did not change because the decider, it is not up to 5 or above 5. So this is the answer, 78.7075 to 3 significant figure. Now let's go to the next one. The next one is a little bit different from the first one, which I want you to pay more attention to. You gave 49.9954 correct to 2 decimal place and 3 decimal place. This DP stands for decimal place. That is what DP stands for. Now, solution. Now, if you look at it, if you are considering 2 decimal place, you looked at this 9, the 9 that are circled. That is the second decimal place. Now, for the approximation to now take place, or the roundup to now take place, you have the next number, which is 5, and it is exactly 5, meaning that it works. The decider is 5, so it's going to round up. And when it rounds up, it's going to move the 1 to this 9. This 9 will no longer be 9. It's going to be 10. But you cannot write 10. You cannot put down 10. If you remember those kind of maths we do in our primary days, when you add number and it becomes 10, you can't just put 10 as your answer, because that is where you started from. You can only put 10 when it is in the last, that you don't have any other thing to add. So that's what is going on here also. So you can't write 10 here, so you just write 0 and carry 1. If you move 1 to the next, you have to move the 1 to the next 9, which is going to, what has happened to this one will also happen to this, is going to be 10. You can't write 10, write 0 and carry 1. Now you can't just leave it there, you just have to continue. You move that 1 to the whole number, where the whole number is. This whole number here is a unit. It becomes 10 again. You can't write 10, you move it to this one. This one will no longer be 4, will now be 5. Why are we moving them? Because you can't write 10 here. You just have to move it on and on and on like that until it comes to where it will be appropriate to stay. So that is why 2 decimal place will result to 50.00. This 00 is because of the questions we say 2 decimal place. That is why you have 00 to do decimal place. Now this very one, they say to 3 decimal place. So this is where the 3 decimal place is, which is this 5. This 5 is the 3 decimal place. Now the decider is less than 5. It's not up to 5, so nothing will happen. Nothing will move to this. This very 3 decimal place, we have no effect. It will not change, will remain the same. That is why at the end of the day, you now have 49.995. So this one is not significant, not making any sense, and we left it 3 decimal place. 1, 2, 3, 3 decimal place. That's why it ends this way. Now, any question on that? You can try this out at your corner, in your room, in your private time. You can try this, copy them down. Just give each number correct 1 decimal place and 2 decimal place. So if you are solving this, you solve it. You solve this 1 decimal place. You also solve it 2 decimal place. You do the same for this. It continues up to this very ends here. So 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place, 1 decimal place, 2 decimal place. These are practice. Now for the number 2 is a different one also, but similar. Give each number to 2 decimal place and 3 decimal place. So each of these questions, you solve it for 2 decimal place and 3 decimal place. This is practice. Thank you for watching. You can give me feedback. Thank you so much.